Welcome back. Continuing coverage of that hospital shooting in New Britain right now. 2 people fighting for their lives this morning, and a community is still trying to grasp how it could have all happened. And that is just one of the questions that we are tackling right now in the wake of that shooting. So I'm joined by expert David Monson. His company's CEO wrote a book on workplace violence, so we're talking a little bit more about this. Good to see you, David. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much for having me, Logan.
So we think of shootings as workplace violence, obviously, but there are other kinds of workplace violence behaviors and episodes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that is the kind of the apex of workplace violence. But whether it's threatening, whether it's harassment, intimidation, these are all kinds of things. And actually, you know, in our country, there's literally 2 folks are dying every single day, and 87 people are injured. So it is a true event that's happening all the time, and it's something that as leaderships in business or leaders in business really need to take time to look at this and put a plan in place for themselves.
And a lot of people are either concerned about workplace violence at their place of work, or maybe they've even witnessed some variety of workplace violence.
Yeah, you know, and actually our company did a study, and over half of Americans, 52% of Americans, say they either experienced workplace violence, heard about it, seen it, something having to do in their own workplace. So it's real, and it's something that we need to be tackling, you know, as business leaders. I'll give you a quick example. If you look at the school systems in our country, and you say, all right, well, in the last 50 years, how often has a student died in a fire? And the answer is none. You know, now in the last 15 years, how many adults have died in a workplace violence event? And it's hundreds. Well, why is that? The kids do fire drills. My 9-year-old, my 11-year-old, they know what to do. So as leaders of business in the business community, whether it's healthcare, higher education, commercial real estate, whatever, we need to have a plan in place, and then we need to be able to execute and practice that plan on a regular basis so folks know what to do.
So let's take the example of what just happened at this hospital in New Britain. An employee, a custodian, goes in. He basically is told that he needs to work harder and longer and clean more. He gets upset. He goes home. He gets the gun. He comes back, and he shoots these 2 of his bosses. And so the owner of the hospital says, what are we supposed to do? Have metal detectors at every entrance and make sure everybody goes through a metal detector? Is that what you would have to do to avoid something like this? Well,
you know, I don't want to speak to that incident, since I don't know other than the stuff that you all have reported, and we weren't involved in that. However, I can say this. There are signs, and so this would have been kind of the end of the road. We have a workplace violence continuum that we work with. Our CEO actually wrote a book on this. He's very passionate about it, and we do seminars on this. And so this was sort of at the end of that continuum. So there were signs, and if you teach your employees what to look for, then we can be prepared, and and hopefully, you don't know, but hopefully you would have been able to see some of these signs, and then someone could have reported this, and then maybe the situation could have been dealt with differently, and maybe the outcome could have been different.
What's the name of the book, David, so if people want to pick it up, they can?
It's Potential by our CEO, Bill Whitmore. There's, I think, the graphic.
Sure.
And, you know, it really would help business leaders of our country put together a good plan for their businesses.
David Monson, thanks for coming on the program. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Logan, for having me.
Thanks so much. And a reminder, coming up in the second half hour, we're going to talk with a clinical psychologist about what to do if you or someone you know has witnessed a violent workplace incident. For now, though, let's send it over to Rachel Lutz.